here we go. I got another picture.
So Chris has got another picture on his computer that he is looking at. This is maybe the best TV we've ever made.
Well, it's just killing me now. Oh, yeah, what's up? You know it. Action-packed. Me looking at pictures, making the audience sit there and listen to nothing. Just me looking at pictures. What's up, everybody? It's Chris Sims. Chris Sims Unbuttoned. Ahmed Fareed is here. It's Monday. The quarterback countdown continues.
Yep.
We are into June. It's unbelievable. I can't believe it. Life's flying, though. I'm excited. You know, it's got that feel in the air right now. Summer's kind of here, right? The kids can smell the end of the school year. I can smell the end of the work year, right? This is the first weekend, I feel like, in the Northeast where you could go out every night and be like, oh, wow, it's nice out tonight, or it's not a monsoon out, and we can enjoy the outside. So good times, good things ahead. Glad to have you here, Slugger.
Glad to see you too, Chris. It felt like summer for the first time here.
Right.
It was like it feels like you're sweaty or a little uncomfortable. So when you say you're excited, you don't mean you're excited to necessarily finish strong here in our last four pods.
You heard me say before the pod started to everybody out there in full transparency, I was like, I can't wait for the summer break. I'm ready. I was like, yesterday was the first Sunday, right, where, you know, again, doing this, and a lot of my Sundays are about film in the off season, whether it's the draft, free agency, or this right here. Yesterday was the first Sunday where I was like, It's really nice out, and I'm sitting here watching film of the quarterbacks again, writing notes, and I'm like, I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't wait to the break. But nonetheless, we pushed through.
You do.
That's what we did. We pushed through. I didn't get much sleep last night, right? And for all those out there, Ahmed did not go on a bong frenzy or smoking frenzy this weekend. His voice is a little hoarse.
Once a year or twice a year, my voice just goes. I just am like,
it's like I've had enough.
It's like,
and I need a break,
so much.
right? And it makes you do it.
They go, no one cares what you have to say anyway. Just stop talking.
That's not true. That's not true. All right, but you went to the Red Sox game.
Went to the Red Sox. That probably didn't help.
Yeah,
took the family there. First time
right.
took the family. Saw the my Detroit Tigers. They were playing okay.
Yeah, way to go, Tigers. Beat the Red Sox.
They did. It was a great game.
Always helping the Yanks.
My
the best
daughter
team in baseball.
My daughter and the Yankees had a great comeback too. My daughter was so into it that for the first time she goes, I actually went to a baseball game and watched it. And she's 8 right now, and so she had a fun time. But my wife almost turned on me. She almost started rooting for the Red Sox because the crowd was so into it.
Stadium,
and the Sweet Caroline. She was like, I just would feel bad if they all lost.
Yeah.
I go, don't feel bad.
Don't feel bad. They won't feel bad for you if you lost and they were at your stadium.
So thankfully the Tigers did win.
Okay,
but
good.
I was yelling and that didn't help the voice. But no, it was a great time.
Yeah.
And I like you. I'm like, it'd be nice to do more of this stuff here. Not that I don't like breaking down Will Levis versus Daniel Jones.
But this is the first time ever I'm seeing you like strained to talk. That's what's actually funny. You got veins popping on your neck right now.
I know. What is that?
I don't know what it is. Well, you're just trying to work. Either way, nah. We're gonna push it. Say a few swear words today. Do some stuff like that. It'll warm you up. It'll get you going.
Okay.
I'm going on like no sleep for some reason. I have this little thing here. Well, Sunday night I'm never good. I always get the Sunday scaries a little bit, right? It's just been a great weekend. I'm like, oh, here we go again, right? So there's always that. But I'm like, yesterday was different. Now, I drank too much coffee late in the morning to early afternoon. I crossed my threshold, but I was a little tired, so I was like, oh, I'm going to have this last little bit of coffee. And what I do notice, too, is tequila. Tequila, keeps you up. It does keep me up. I mean, it's upper, and I don't know if I didn't eat enough yesterday or whatever else, but I had a little tequila around like 5:30, 6 o'clock, right? I was watching the Yankees and them come back against the San Francisco Giants and enjoying all of that. But, like, I went to bed last night like energized, and it was like one of those nights where I slept, but I don't know if I ever fell into a deep sleep and it didn't feel like a sleep. You know what I mean?
Yep.
But I actually feel good today, so I don't know what to say. Okay. But I'm just going on a heater, and I'm just pushing through right now.
We don't know how long this could last, so maybe my voice and your energy. So let's get into it. We're going through 4 more quarterbacks today.
Yeah.
So we got 4 quarterbacks.
We're going to hit the top 10.
We're going to look at their grips. And now, Pete, you have a photo of Tua's grip here. What did we leave? Did we leave it with something last time?
Well, Tua's grip is what we were talking about. That was our opening, and that's why I was looking at those pictures.
Right. That's
right.
why you were looking.
Yeah.
We want to show what you saw to everyone else, because it was a grip that we have not seen.
It's never before.
And you're confident in saying this grip has never before been seen in the NFL.
I remember this when he first came out and I saw it, and I was like, I've never seen a quarterback, and I think I said that a few times, whether it was on the pod or PFT. But yes, to have the middle finger on a lace, then the ring finger on 3, and then the pinky finger under the 6th, right, the 6th gap there. That is, I've never seen that. I've never seen somebody with 2 of their middle fingers on the football at all, period. Wow. I've never seen that. So that's definitely a new one, and that's why we were talking about that, and I was looking at the pictures there, because, again, like I told you, I try not to cheat when I go into this, right? I try to be, hey, I watch these guys all the time. I think I know them. And that one was definitely weird. And you spotted it with the optical illusion. We were like, wait, there looks like there's a lace missing.
Yeah.
No, it's not the lace. It's the weird grip of Tua that covers one of those laces.
Bigger hands for Tua. Yeah. There too. DCowboy777 says, you should do at least one quarterback ranking with a Casey Kasem impression.
And Tua Tagovailoa, he rises 3 spots on the Casey Keenum countdown. The Casey Kasem, excuse me.
Yeah, Case Keenum normally is in your top 40. I don't know why he's not.
I know. Yeah, so I grew up with listening to Casey Kasem, and geez, he was the New Year's Eve person forever, right? Wasn't he? That was right. No, I'm thinking of Dick Clark. I was thinking of Dick Clark. One of those old guys.
DCowboy777, you've taken us down a path we did not want to go down, and now we are regretting it.
Great path.
So we got 4 quarterbacks. Before we get to the quarterbacks, let's do a wide receiver. Perhaps the number 1 wide receiver in all of football. Oh, we should do that next year. Top 40 wide receivers. Maybe I'll do that. Justin Jefferson. Got a new deal, 4 years, $140 million here. Adam Schefter says that makes him the highest paid wide receiver in NFL history, $110 million guaranteed, highest non-quarterback in NFL history.
Right.
So he got paid. He's due $88 million at signing. So just like that, boom. Here's $88 million.
$88 million at signing, $110 it sounds like with the practical guarantee.
Yes.
Where it's like, okay, if they're going to have to cut him after 1 year and pay him $88 million. Like, that's not going to happen. So it's really 110, right? Not shocking. I mean, we knew this was coming. We knew he was in line to be the highest paid non-quarterback in the history of football, right? Flory and I have talked about this a lot. The Vikings boxed themselves in the corner with this conversation at the Combine. Kadefi, I always... Adolfo Mensa. I always choke it when I have to say it for real. Like, if I was in my car and talking on the phone, I don't choke it. But for whatever reason, I see the word all of a sudden when I'm hearing the mic, and I choke to death.
KOM.
So, but either way, he says that at the Combine and gets into, like, no, we think he's in the class of Nick Bosa and that type of contract. So we knew that was there. The shocking thing was that, okay, you said that. Why isn't it done yet? What took so long? Right? Florian and I have talked about. They tried to trade up to number 5 to get Malik Neighbors. There's no doubt about it. There's no doubt. Right? So, they obviously were a little bit like, I don't know if we're going to get this deal done. Maybe we should take this route. And there was some thinking there. But as we always talk about, right? There's 20 top 10 receivers in football, right? But there's only 4 top 4. And that's where there's no doubt why you pay this guy. First off, he's a special, special player. The first 4 years in the league are as good as anybody we've seen in the history of the game, right? Yeah. They drafted him. He's been the model citizen for the Vikings, right? He's not a guy that's a me guy or like seems to have diva personality issues or anything like that, right? He's everything what you want your team to be. Right? He does all the little things the right way. And, that's where I made that comment about there's 20 top 10 receivers. Like, the one thing I always come to with any of my friends I talk to in the NFL, front office, coaches, whatever, you've heard me say this before, those 4 receivers, there's only 4 top 4, Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, Tyreek Hill, A.J. Brown. I say that because not only do I believe that, but when I talk to D coordinators or people around football, those are always the names they throw out when they talk about the elite receivers. Now, I think the rest of football, like those other 16 top 20 guys, that's where it could be interchangeable, right? Where some guys might have this guy at 12 or this guy at 7 or this guy at 14 and this guy at 9, right? What I mean? But this I don't think is arguable, and he is a phenomenal football player. Good for the Vikings getting it done. They get to go into their mini camp now. They don't have to deal with this distraction. It doesn't go into the off season, and they can start the JJ to JJ combination up there in Minnesota.
And I think that's important for a young quarterback to have that. But it is interesting. It's like the Vikings did the opposite with Stephon Diggs.
Yeah.
Right? Because it was like, okay, we'll let Stephon Diggs walk. And we'll just find another Stephon Diggs.
I think there was a little bit of mutual there, too.
And that's true.
Right.
And they found Justin Jefferson. Yeah. And so they have, like, the template. Like, what? Let's just get Malik Neighbors in here. We'll just do the same thing again.
Yeah.
Not that it's all the same people there making those decisions, but.
No. They obviously were hesitant or not sure if the deal was going to get done. Right. And within that, the whole league was feeling that, too. They were like, wait. What's going on? And that's, again, I know they fielded a lot of calls leading up into the draft process about, wait, is Justin Jefferson going on? We haven't heard anything about the contract. We haven't even heard anything about like a solid deal that's been offered yet. What is it? Where's that at? Right? So that's the interesting thing. And, we'll see where it goes from here. But Justin Jefferson, no doubt, one of the best receivers in football.
Is staying in the North going to torment my Detroit Lions?
Torment you, and then here's the ripple effects. Let's just hit that real quick. Okay. Jamar Chase is going to want to be right there in the same ballpark.
Yep.
Right? There's no doubt. I mean, whether he wants to one-up him or just be right there. Now, Chase's situation's more complex, in my opinion. He's only played 3 years. He still has the 4th year of the contract, right? And there's the 5th year option possibility, right? So there's all that. Plus, he has Joe Burrow on his football team. So somebody's getting a huge chunk of change already. Justin Jefferson, that's not part of the case, right? He's already played 4 years. He only had the 5th year option, and he has no quarterback that's taking $55 million a year. So Chase's situation, I'm going to be interested to see how they finagle that and work that out, especially with basically they having 2 more years of rights on him, and then the Tyreek Hill situation, right? I mean, Tyreek Hill, there is no way he's going to go down the way this is right now. I mean, first off, Jalen Waddle leapfrogged him this weekend. He's going to be like, what? Jalen Waddle's good, but you all know who the man is down here, everybody. We all do. He's the best player on the team, right? I mean, he's arguably been the most talked about, most explosive player in football, really, the last few years, right? Certainly the last few years in the Dolphins and what Mike McDaniel has used him like, right?
It doesn't work without him.
It doesn't work without him. Exactly right. And then I think you add on to the fact that, yeah, he's getting up there in age and he wants to get that one more payday, and he also is going, wait, I've kind of been better than Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase the last few years. They're going to have to figure something out there. Yeah. Now, whether that's just like a little extension or more money on top for a 2-year deal, something like that, something's going to be done. But, as we discussed last week, Miami's got a few headaches to deal with when it comes to contracts.
All right, so the wide receiver market taking shape. CeeDee Lamb still needs to be paid out there. Amon-Ra St. Brown got paid by my Detroit Lions.
Brandon Ayuk and CeeDee Lamb are the 2 ones right now we look at to where that goes. Right. Now, I would think CeeDee Lamb is going to be somewhere in that Amon-Ra St. Brown type of money situation. That would be my guess, right? I don't think he's going to be able to command Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase money, but he'll be this next level just underneath it.
Is he okay with that?
I don't know. You're right. That's going to be interesting to see. Is he okay with that? And then the Ayuk situation, again, I don't know where that stands, where that is right now, but I don't think he's going to get quite that money. I don't imagine that. I don't. And from that, I don't think a deal gets done with Ayuk, and I think the Niners will probably ride it out this year and try to deal with it during the season or after the season's over.
Well, it all looks like chump change to the quarterbacks and what they are making and what they could make, because the 4 quarterbacks we're going to talk about today, they're making a lot of money, or they potentially could be very, very soon. So 4 quarterbacks all in one tier. Before we get to that, here's where we are on the top 40 quarterback countdown list.
Give it to us, Case Keenum.
Moving up to number 15.
I know. I said it deliberately that time.
Number 15, Baker Mayfield. Kyler Murray is number. I actually could, with my voice.
With your voice right now, you really have Casey Kasem. That's what I'm saying. Go with it.
And Brock Purdy at 17. So as we move on in the Chris Sims quarterback countdown, we go to number 14. So now the tier, it's all one tier here. All these 4 quarterbacks in one tier.
Right.
And that tier, do we have, what is the tier? Oh, yes. Wild cards.
Right.
And this, we put all our heads together. You, me, Matt, Pete.
Yeah. You and Pete come up with the phrasing. You're more creative than I am that way.
So this is wild cards. You might think that's a negative tier for the quarterbacks this high, but I think it means that these quarterbacks, if you have them on your team, you're instantly in the wild card conversation. Like your team is a potential wild card team.
I think it's that, and then where I also like that you guys came up with this. It's a little play on words too, to be like they're wild cards individually. All 4 guys we're going to talk about today. Great, mediocre, whatever. We don't know where it could go, right? So that's where this group was very, very interesting, and Should we lead it off? You want to go there, Case Keenum?
Number 14 on your list is
Aaron Rodgers. Oh, Aaron Rodgers, you're the greatest I've ever seen. But that doesn't mean I think that right now, okay? I think Aaron Rodgers in his prime is arguably the greatest quarterback ever, right? The skills, everything he has. I know he still has skills. But my big thing with Aaron Rodgers is, what is Aaron Rodgers right now? I don't know. I don't. I know he's still got a really good arm and can spin it and he's got a quick release and all of that, right? But, I mean, going back to 2 years ago in Green Bay, definitely one of the most underwhelming Aaron Rodgers seasons ever. And I know he had some injuries and all of that too, but it goes into all of it. It's the throws, the plays, right? The aggressive nature we talked about that I really, feel like he's got to pick up in that department, right? That is all bothers me. And of course, he didn't play last year, and he's a year older, and he's going to be less wanting to get hit by people or stand in the pocket. Let alone, I think my big thing is, can Aaron Rodgers play the way Aaron Rodgers thinks he can play, right? That's what I got to see. Is Aaron Rodgers at this point of his career, are we still just going to put him in the shotgun and he's going to hop around and, throw quick throws and lasers and sidearms and make people miss and set up and throw other lasers down the field? I just don't know. I kind of got to see it to believe it, right? Let alone, I think there was some reluctancy to do that the last few years anyways. I mean, I think we even saw that his last MVP season, let alone the 2022 season where they didn't make the playoffs. And I was complaining about that in the 2021 season in general anyways, all right? It's the lack of aggressiveness or the lack of wanting to hang in the pocket and, maybe make a big play with your arm that can change the game. And in my opinion, taking too many of the easy way out or the conservative way out that I go, hey, that's nice. And your quarterback ranking and completion percentage would be good, but you're not going for it. You're not trying to win the game. You're kind of playing like, I just don't want to be the reason we lose. And that to me is not what an all-time or a great quarterback in this league right now does, right? So that's where I would argue it. And yeah, of course, the health and the injury and all of that all play into it. He looked good in preseason last year when he got to play a little bit. But here's another thing I'll throw into that. He'll probably look good preseason when he gets into that. Preseason's simple. All his checks and these things he does at the line of scrimmage and the fact that they're going to rep and get things. He's going to look good in the preseason if he gets to get out there again and do that. I understand that. My question is, what's it going to be like when it gets to the regular season? And, again, people are, like we saw at the start of the year last year, people are on their plays early on. And, okay, wait, you can't just, get the ball out in 1.5 seconds and get an easy completion. Oh, yeah, they're all over that stuff. So what are you going to do now? Are you going to be able to move? Are you going to make some aggressive decisions and throws and power throws that can change field position and really give your team a jump start that way? Yeah. These are all things I question. And again, I just want to raise my hand and say, I don't even feel comfortable saying those things. I really don't, because I how highly I think of Aaron Rodgers. And I would argue that in his prime, I don't think I've ever seen a better, more talented quarterback in football, but we're not there right now, and we're coming off a serious injury, and it's still a new team. We really haven't seen it all together. Yep. And I just got to see a few things myself here.
He's clearly the leader that team
clearly
needed. You just see by the video there at OTAs, right. He's right back in it. He's the one leading the charge there. And he goes, this is a quote from him. He goes, I have a lot of motivation. I love the game. I want to play at a high level. I don't want to go out as a bum.
Yeah.
So you have that motivation with Aaron Rodgers, maybe for the first time. Last year he came in, and the narrative around him is that he's, Gotham's savior as long as he stays healthy here. I think there are some more questions than that with him, but he realizes that now, and he's maybe been knocked down a peg just because now there are the doubters out there whether he can figure this out. They are protecting him, or are going to try to, more than they did perhaps last year.
There, right.
Tyron Smith, you got John Simpson, you got Morgan Moses. They drafted Olu Fashanu from Penn State. So clearly, it does seem like they are looking at him as he's not that mobile quarterback that can kind of maybe a little bit.
Yeah.
But we definitely need to max protect on some of this stuff.
I would hope so. I wouldn't want to live we're just going to be an empty and Aaron Rodgers going to be in the shotgun every play and we're just going to rely on him to, make quick throws and quick decisions all the time and do all of that stuff. I wouldn't. one, I mean, yeah, I'm not sure how capable he's going to be in that department, and can he just carry the squad like I think like a Josh Allen or a Joe Burrow or Mahomes can in that situation? I'm not sure he can do that. I'm not sure. I have real questions about that. And then the other part of like what you bring up with the pass protection and all that too, right? There's got to be something to get him to throw the ball down the football field. You got to do some stuff. You got to do some stuff to encourage it and whatever. And whether that's to keep the tight end in, and with this new offensive lineman there that's totally remade, and I go, man, I mean, from a name standpoint and what it looks like on paper, that's a damn good group. It is. But like, yeah, I would love to see them infuse more play action. Again, like we talk about, get back there, feel protected, and you still have a great arm. I mean, you still have a great arm. Let Garrett Wilson work down the field. Let's find some ways, instead of always trying to find the 4-yard completion, to push the ball 25 and 30 yards down the football field. Again, I think it's one difference we saw with Green Bay last year with Jordan Love as compared to Aaron Rodgers with Green Bay. What did we see? We talked about it a lot last year. Yeah, their offense might not be quite as complex, but what was it? We were always like, the man in Green Bay now, Jordan Love, is looking to strike. He is looking to push the ball down the field. And in a lot of ways, I felt like their offense was, at the end of the year, more dangerous and scary than what we saw from Rodgers at the end of his career in Green Bay.
Yeah, it was a good finish for LaFleur,
right.
I think, there in Green Bay, because maybe some of those things that they could not do, Aaron did not want to do in the last couple of years, right. They were able to do with Jordan Love. And it was certainly more dangerous at times.
Yeah.
They have Mike Williams there now, too, so that could be a deep threat if he can stay healthy.
Yeah.
Garrett Wilson. And they drafted mine and Aaron Rodgers' favorite wide receiver in the draft. So this is what Rodgers recently told the Jets official podcast. Corley was my favorite wide receiver in the draft. Now, he might not have been the best on paper in the draft, but I really felt like he was going to fit in with what we're trying to do, his mindset, his ferocity there, too. So he does have pretty good weapons on paper here.
He does. And Corley's a football player, right? He's a weapon. He really, along those Deebo Samuel lines that we've talked about, catch the ball over the middle, break tackles, speed sweeps, tosses. You could do all of that stuff with him, right? And you're going to feel good about it. I think he's perfect for what they got there. You got Lazard, who can do a little bit of everything, right? Garrett Wilson, who we know is got a chance to be a real star. So you base the offense around him. And then you got Mike Williams, who's not only, like you said, a deep threat, but I think also, too, where I hope Rodgers can take advantage of him, is like, hey, he's over here. It's man-to-man. Oh, he didn't beat him deep? That's all right. I can throw it on his back shoulder. I can throw it up here. He's big. He knows how to use his body, box people out, catch the ball like that, right? Rodgers used to be phenomenal at doing that stuff with Devontae Adams and Jordy Nelson back in the day. Yeah. He doesn't do it. He didn't do it as much at the end of his career in Green Bay, so we'll see. But this guy's the kind of target that might bring it out for him. But, yeah, that to me is the big question with Rodgers, is what Rodgers are we going to get? What is he capable of, right? And can he find a way, like I talk about, of not worried about touchdown-interception ratio, not worried about quarterback numbers, letting it go and trying to win games and putting pressure on teams that way? I think he's let some teams off the hook. As you know, and I always talk about it, that last playoff game he played for the Green Bay Packers against the 49ers, it wasn't that he played bad that day, but for Aaron Rodgers, the MVP, no, I expect more. And as we showed during the time, and I talked about on PFT, and I gave it another look yesterday as I was just going back, like, yeah, there was plays there to be had. There was people open. There was 15 and 20-yard completions where the game field position could have been changed, and they could have put pressure on the 49ers. And instead, what happened? The 49ers hung around. They made a few plays, and all of a sudden it's like, wait, we were kind of controlling and I was being conservative, but if I was maybe a little more aggressive and not conservative, this wouldn't even be a point that they made a few plays at the end of the game. The game would have been over already. And that's what I just don't know about Aaron Rodgers.
He knows the pressure's there. He goes, if I don't do what I know I'm capable of doing,
that's right,
we're all probably going to be out of here.
Yeah.
So that would include him. That would include the head coach. Who knows? Maybe a front office change too. So these are wild cards.
Yeah.
So the narrative could be set rather early, or will be, impacted rather early.
Yeah, why he's a wild card, because it's like, what are we going to get? I don't know what it is. And, will he do some of the things we talk about?
They could use a fast start. they could be facing a rookie or second-year quarterback in 5 of their first 8 games, apparently, here. So here are the rookie quarterbacks that the Jets will play. These are all the quarterbacks, so yeah, including the rookies there. Drake Maye, maybe not week 3 there, but you got Will Levis, second-year guy. You got Brock Purdy week 1, so who knows? Maybe the Jets are set up here for some
I think
early season success.
Right? So, like, they have a lot of traveling and a lot of night games early on in the year, right? And a lot of people made a big deal about that when the schedule came out. Like, wow, that's kind of like, a little unfair to them, right? Because they've had the last few years, I would say their first 5 or 6 games have been like the toughest in football for like 3 years in a row. This year, it's tough because of the schedule and how it's laid out, but I would say this is the best schedule they've had as far as talent of teams in a while, to where I look at it and go, wait, hold on a second here. There is no doubt in my mind, okay, if we take, let's just say the first 5 weeks of the year, the 49ers, the Titans, the Patriots, the Broncos, and the Vikings, I have no problem right off the bat saying the Jets are more talented than 4 of those 5 teams. No doubt about it. They have more talent than the Titans, Patriots, Broncos, and Vikings. Right? The 49ers, we know, are arguably the most talented team in football, are certainly up there. So I'm not going to give them over that, right? But after that, you look at that and go, wait, that's real deal. And then, of course, I think they're even more talented than the Buffalo Bills. Now, it's Buffalo, and it's not that much more talented. And, of course, we know they got the quarterback that, we're not going to be talking about today. I mean, it's going to be later on in the podcast series here. So that's a wild card game. But, yeah, they have a chance here if they can handle the theatrics of the schedule, to where I look at it for the first time and go, hey, the Jets could be 4-1 after the first 5 weeks of the year. But a lot of that, again, is protection of Rodgers. What is Rodgers as a player still? What does he think he's capable of? And is there an adjustment period of, playing this new style of football?
The face of the Jets no longer the face of the Green Bay Packers, which takes us to number 13 on your list.
Yes, it is. It takes me to Jordan Love, right? One notch above Aaron Rodgers. Oh, I like that on the graphic there. Air Jordan. Jordan Love. First off, incredible job last year. Incredible. I think to handle the pressure of coming off the heels of Aaron Rodgers, and it didn't get off to the greatest, smoothest start in the world, but damn, it ended pretty damn well. That's for sure. Second half of the season, the lights came on, and he played like a big-time franchise quarterback, right? They kind of went into a thing here where they basically said, okay, it's sink or swim. And we got to start taking the training wheels off, right? And I said this to you before the podcast where, hey, those first 6, 7, 8 weeks, they might have been managing them, and they might have been over-managing it to where it didn't even give them a chance to really succeed or attack a defense the right way. But I think at some point they went like, wait, either we got to see if he can do it or we're just not going to win games, or every game's going to be a struggle, right? And they kind of took the training wheels off and they went, here's a bunch more plays on the offense. Can you handle it? Can you make this work? And damn, did he make it work. I mean, he played his best versus the best competition until like 2 of his last throws of the year.
Yeah.
Right? Against the 49ers, which he did a lot of good things in that game. But we know how it ended. But you know my point when I say that. At the end of the year, the schedule was tough. They played some good football teams. He played really, really good football. And it wasn't like, oh, they were hiding him or trying to use a run game or do any of that. No, they unleashed him, right? And, this is what I would say about him just as a player and a specimen, Ahmed. When he's on his game, he's really one of the most gifted throwers in the NFL, right? From every standpoint. I mean, he has a big-time arm. He can really throw with power. He's got a great deep ball, right, that he can let it loose. He wants to stand in the pocket and make power throws and plays downfield. Again, the one thing that's apparent, right, watching Rodgers to Jordan Love, right, and watching some of Rodgers in Green Bay, the offense was different. It was more aggressive. And damn, Jordan Love wasn't going to leave the pocket until he had to leave the pocket. He was literally like, wait, they're about to hit me. Oh, no, he didn't hit me. I'm going to wait a little longer because here comes Christian Watson or here comes Dobbs. Hold on, I'm going to sit on my back leg. Uh-oh, I might get hit here. But let me throw one of those little sidearm floaters over the middle for a 30-yard gain. I mean, that's where, he's fearless that way. And because of his gifted arm, I mean, he really has every club in the bag, right? talk about standing in the pocket. The amount of arm angles and off-platform throws he has, I would say rival the best in the game in that department, right? When you talk about running to his left and throwing a ball sidearm, or being in the pocket and like, oh, wait, I got somebody over the middle, but I can't throw it traditionally because there's a big D tackle with his hand up. He can go sidearm around him that way, throwing off his back foot and throwing balls that you're like, man, that's a 50-yard post down the middle, and he's like off his back foot and he didn't even get his body into it.
Yeah.
Right? Those are things he can do where you watch it and you go, damn, that is pretty.
So those are all things that we saw from Aaron Rodgers, right? And I don't know that we saw that from Jordan Love at college, right? Or in the limited time we saw him preseason,
right?
Some of those spot starts. And so those are some learned things. And so I wasn't going to get into this, but I think it makes sense. Tom Brady was talking about Jordan Love on the Colin Cowherd show.
I missed this.
And he said he had Aaron Rodgers to watch. That's the best type of training, in my opinion. Watch someone else do it at a very high level and then try to emulate them.
Yeah.
Maybe a little bit of a misnomer with the draft is that these players can come in and all of a sudden become this great professional player. So you kind of have both philosophies here, right? It's like, one, there's no better training than coming in, playing right away. You're going to take your lumps, but you're going to learn. And then you have the Packers, what they've done here with Jordan Love, and that he waited and waited and waited and learned from one of the best.
Right.
And now he is above the best, and he's above a lot of other good quarterbacks here at 13 on your list here. So, like, I know every situation is different, but is there one? Are we? Because we're going to have a lot of rookie quarterbacks who we're going to start this year, right away.
I think they were farther along than he was when he came. I think that, like you said, you got to take everything into account. He was one of those where, you remember back at the time, right? It was a little bit like, man, I love his good, right? And I overdid it with his good and ranked him above Tua right away, right? But then, the bad was like, whoa, it's like we got some work to do. Decisions, throws, all of it.
Maybe you were right, though. I'm just saying that.
Well, sometimes that's where I got to go, wait, don't forget, this isn't about right now always. So the quarterback draft ranking is what I think they're going to be 2-3 years down the road, right? And that's where maybe I chickened out, and I shouldn't have, right? But it was so raw that I think I was a little bit like, I can't just say he's definitely going to overcome some of this stuff, because not only was there the decision making, but there was mechanical things. It was a little bit of everything. So I do think for him, this did him a good deed. It did. Yeah. Now, did he need to sit for 3 years? I don't know about that. But again, I'm usually in the line of play, right? But not to the point of I want to just throw a guy out there that I think has a lot of things to work on, and I see high-end talent, but it's not quite there yet, and I don't want to ruin him or destroy him and cause more problems to just throwing him out there, right? That's like what I would say with Drake Maye up in New England. Drake Maye got some big-time talent. We know that. But he would be one where, I don't think he's like J.J. McCarthy or Bo Nix or Michael Penix or Jaden Daniels or Caleb. I don't think he's ready right now. I think they can play right now.
Yeah.
I think if you play Drake Maye, it could funnel into, we had 2 problems and now we have 5 problems, right? So that's where you got to kind of balance that out a little.
Sit behind the legend of Jacoby Brissett and learn from him and be a clone.
Well, the other thing Love gets not only, I get to sit behind Rodgers, hear his thought process, right? Get to see his mechanics, which when he throws the ball the right way, Rodgers' mechanics are like as good as they get. Yeah. You get to see the preparation during the week, right? So you get to deal with all of that. Yeah. Let alone you get to prepare yourself for the pressure you're going to be under, okay? Because when you're the backup quarterback and you're young, you come in on some Wednesdays and you're like, whoa, that was a bad loss, and whoa, the national media's on Rodgers, and like I used to come in and like a little bit on those days, and like when we have that, and be like, how's this day going to work out? How's Brad Johnson going to handle, like, everybody in Tampa Bay says he stinks now, and they're on Gruden, and we lost the game we shouldn't have lost, right? So he got to see those situations and go, this is how this guy handled it. So I do think it really, really benefited him for this one.
Like, there are very few situations in teams where this is possible. Like, a lot of these rookie quarterbacks are going to teams that don't have a quarterback.
They don't have Aaron Rodgers.
Have anyone to really learn from.
Right.
But I'm looking at other teams like a Matthew Stafford or something like that. The Rams can. I mean, there's some situations where it's like you get the right quarterback there, and who knows? Maybe they exceed expectations.
Well, Kirk Cousins and Michael Penix, they're doing what you're talking about.
Good point.
Right? They're kind of hoping it gets, goes that way. You know, I think some of their thought in Atlanta was, hey, if Kirk Cousins plays the way we think he can play, we're not going to be drafting high anyways anytime soon. And what I know from Atlanta is they had a grade or a view of Michael Penix where they thought he was like the best quarterback to come out in football in a few years, not just this year, right? So they loved him to such an extent that even though I think that move was kind of crazy, right, that's kind of their logic, and I'm not going to be mad at them for it.
So Pro Football Focus said this about Love. They were looking at the numbers just like you were in the performance. From Week 8 on, Love earned an elite 90 passing grade, 27 big-time throws, 10 turnover-worthy plays. His play down the stretch into the playoffs was pretty good. He struggled with accuracy in the first half of the season, but was on fire in the second half. So you do feel more confident than what we saw when the chains were removed and we saw Jordan Love throwing, not those last couple passes, the last one specifically. Right. That's what we will see moving forward from Jordan Love.
I think so. And I would be shocked if it doesn't even get better. Just like we saw last year, it just continued to get better and better and better. He's a very good athlete. He scrambles to throw, and that's what the most dangerous quarterbacks do in football right now, right? You know, plays big in the pocket. He plays big. That's the other, I mean, people around him, you know, he really, like I said, like he's going to hang in there. He doesn't get flustered by it, and he's not worried about getting hit or anything that way, right? He commanded the line of scrimmage from week 6 to week 16. It's a different human being. I mean, at the end of the year, he's pointing people out and checking plays and doing all this, and you're like, holy crap. He could barely say the quarterback, said hut in the first week 4. And now he's doing that, right? So he's got anticipation. He has that. But here's the negative. And you just hit on it a little bit. And you hit what PFF said about accuracy. And what you saw, you remember the 2 interceptions in the 49er game, right? There was the one at the very end, which was just, hey, dumb and stupid and over-aggressive, right? And probably feeling himself. And like, I've been making plays that are awesome for 10 weeks now. I'm going to make one more, right? Yeah. So that one, dumb. He made a mistake. The other one, remember he had the shallow cross underneath, right? And he missed. The guy was wide open, and he threw the ball high, and the guy had to reach up, and it like hit his hand, and it got intercepted, right? That is his biggest thing, right? He can definitely be more of a machine with quick to intermediate throws, right? He's got such a loose, gifted arm, right? And that's cool, but with like a shorter throw where it's got to be quick and precise, it can't be all these moving parts at times. Yeah. You know what I mean? It almost, you think about Aaron Rodgers when he throws like a slant. It's almost like, did he throw it? It's like it's just came out of his ear, right? It's just because he uses his body, and now, hey, it's like a golfer with a pitching wedge. You can't be like, I'm 7 feet from the green. Let me take a full swing and wiggle that shit around and then just hit it and it'll land next to the hole. No, it's got to be like really tight and precise, right? And that's the same with short passing game. And that's, to me, like his footwork, his tightness in his feet, and his tightness in his arm all together, right? I think he needs to have a quicker and tighter motion. Arm can get too loose. The other thing, like we've talked about with a lot of young quarterbacks, he stays on number 1 too long, which is also I like, don't get me wrong, because that's where his aggressive nature and, hey, the play was designed for this guy, and I'm going to wait and see if he pops, right? So he does that, but at times he can wait a little too long. But as I said, he's got every club in the bag, he just needs to perfect it, and he got better and better as they started to attack rather than manage him.
Well, he was 31 last year for you in this ranking. Now he is 13. He's flipped it around. He was in his own tier. What is Love? Baby, don't hurt me. We figured out what he is, and he is a ascending quarterback who the sky is the limit. Top 10 is in his sights here. Now, I would say one of the more interesting things you ever said about him to me was that because sometimes he does some of those back foot throws off the back foot, lofts it up. You're like, he didn't really need to go off his back foot there. But you think part of that is because he doesn't trust himself as much to just flat foot,
be mechanically
solid
perfect.
Base. Yes, exactly.
Right. It's the fallback. It's the fail-safe system. Right? I've seen this with Lamar Jackson, where you'd go like, wait, the pocket was clean. He kind of still threw it sidearm and like did that because there's when you're back here like this and you can kind of just hang back there and you can emulate it easily, right? So you can kind of like replicate that time after time after time, but it doesn't always conducive to, oh wait, now I got to really put some juice on it. Right. The window's kind of tight. And I got to be a machine to control it that way. There's a little bit of a difference there in the way that throw happens and how the mechanics have to happen. And those mechanics are a little bit more complicated than, hey, just hang on your back leg and kind of just, use your gifted arm and big hands and just flick it over there, right? Which is nice. But again, more times than not, like that second to last interception he threw in the 49ers game, it needs to be like, boom, machine. Like, think about Peyton Manning, right? He's popping and the ball's right here underneath his chin and all that. It can't be, oh, he's wide open. Let me just chill and like barely let it out and throw that. And then, oh, it fluttered on me. Oh, it kind of came out weird, right? It's hard to be a machine like that all the time or make the really, really intricate, tight throws that you need to make.
Does he have the weapons around him to fulfill his potential at least next year?
Yes.
So we got Christian Watson, we got Romeo Doubs, we got Jaden Reed, the top 3 wide receivers here. Dontavian Wicks, who was awesome at times last year as well.
Yeah, did really damn well too.
Here are the receiving leaders coming back. They're young. They're all young, but they're talented.
I love this group, and I love it a lot as Christian Watson stays healthy, right? You know what I think of Christian Watson. I think he's a superstar, right? I saw Matt LaFleur made a few comments about it a few weeks ago. They think his hamstring's in the right spot here, right? It's been a reoccurring injury. The young tight ends they have, and then they got Josh Jacobs to go along with a good line, and like where this guy is good, and I mean, borderline great, is Jordan Love's a tremendous play-action quarterback, right? He really is, and I would think that's going to continue to be the recipe there. They're going to do that, run the ball, and then they got some guys that certainly can stress you out down the field, and those damn tight ends are good too. And what was it? Was it Kraft, Tucker Kraft, who just tore the pectoral? Was it Tucker Kraft or Musgrave? I can't remember, but I know one of those tight ends just tore their pectoral on the bench, and he won't be ready until training camp or right before that.
No number 1 right now. You think Christian has the talent there. So, I mean, maybe the Raiders say, well, I mean, what are they doing with Devontae Adams this year? I mean, it doesn't seem like they're going anywhere. Just give him back.
Well,
give him back. Give him a number 1 wide receiver.
I think they, even if none of those are number 1s right now, I think I could all go, there can be number 2s. They're like good number 2s. And I do think Watson has a chance to be that legit number 1. But the thing I do like about them, and like we kind of, talk about is, they all can do a little bit of everything. Like you said, we saw Jaden Reed do it all last year.
Yeah.
And he's a player, right? Wicks can kind of do it all. Dobbs can do it all. They all have their own little spot where they're their best at, but they have very good versatility. And then you add a guy like Watson who could be, he's their version of Jameson Williams. If he can be healthy and what we think he can be, that offense will go to another level, just like your Lions will this year.
So that is number 13 for you in the wild card tier. But wild card is still early, but he might get $50 million. That's also another topic of conversation with Jordan Love. It's like they got to pay him because they sat him for so long. He's due for a payday. We'll see. It seems like he played like a top 10
I'd be interested in what they do. Do they want to kick the can a little bit and just go, hey, we'd like to see a little bit more?
Yeah, will he allow that?
Or do they want to get out in front of it and go, hey, here's a deal, right? Yeah, you maybe can get more after the year, but this is really good and this is life-changing money. Do you want to take it now or do you want to gamble?
Mike Garafolo of NFL Media indicated that his new deal would be in the territory of Bengals star Joe Burrow. So that is to say, over $50 million a year.
That's that. Yeah, I mean, hey, that's aggressive, but they're seeing him on an everyday basis. They know what he's made of. We know he's got the talent.
Yeah.
Right. And again, those numbers are $52, $54 million a year. 3 years from now, we're gonna go. That's not that big of a deal at that position. I mean, that's the way it looks like. It's trending that way.
From a quarterback that is hoping to get paid to a quarterback that always gets paid. Your number 12 quarterback is.
Well done. It is Kirk Cousins, the Atlanta Falcons. That's right, Kirk O'Chains. Love him or hate him, he's your QB in Atlanta, right? I mean, Kirk Cousins, in a lot of ways, sometimes doesn't get the respect he deserves as a player, right? We know he's not Mr. Gifted superstar.
The narrative is an all-time businessman, but just a middling starting quarterback.
Yeah, I understand that narrative, but I think he's more than that. I do. And here's the first thing I would say. One of the quickest evaluators of a defense you were going to see at the quarterback position in all the NFL, right? I mean, he can see it, diagnose it, start the throwing motion as fast as any QB in the NFL. It's very Joe Burrow-like, right? Where you go, he got there quick. Whoa, what? Hey, he was right. Whoa, how you got to number 3 that quick? Oh, okay, go. Like, I mean, he's amazing that way. Or coming up out of a play action fake, and you're like, man, he's kind of blind, and he just like throws it, and you're like, whoa. I mean, he saw that guy, and he knew the defense. He knew that guy was about to shuffle that way, and he put it in a window, and the receiver wasn't even there yet, and boom, bam, they hit it, 25-yard gain, first down, right? He's got almost a sixth sense that way. And that's where, his knowledge of an offense, who he's been taught by in the past, all of that, he's a great cerebral quarterback, right? But it's not just that. He has a great blend of system surgicality and aggressive playmaking ability in the pocket, right? It's not wowing you. You're not going to go, oh, my gosh, that's the best laser I've ever seen in my life. You're not going to go, oh, my gosh, that was the prettiest bomb I've ever saw ever. He threw that 70 in the air, and it dropped down. No, you're not going to do that, right? But his accuracy is incredible on all levels, especially intermediate throws. Throws somewhere between 10 and 25 yards, he is awesome, right? He is amazing. And, of course, in the short game, he's really good at as well, right? Got great feel in the pocket, and he's tough as hell. He is. He hangs in there, and he gets crushed, and he's not a real big guy. He's got great feel of where to slide and move in the pocket. As we know, after that, movement is not one of his things. He's not going to get out of the pocket, make plays, scramble to make big throws. That's really not part of his game. That's very rare you see that. So, those are some of the good. Now, the negatives, there's a few throws every game where you wish his arm was a little bit more powerful. And, of course, the same thing with his athletic ability. He is a below-average athletic quarterback for 2024. I mean, he's one of the lesser athletes in all of football when it comes to that category, right? It's rare, right? I mean, we're in the era now of like, hey, if 1 and 2 aren't open, you need to be able to go run for 7 or 8 yards every time. He's not going to do that. He's got to go, wait, I can go through 1 to 2 really quick, and I can find 3 because I can't run. So watch how quickly I can get to that guy, right? That's how he has to do that way. So that's where he's really impressive. Now, also negatives, and I've said this, and you know this, one of the slower releases you will see, and no arm angles, right? Those are things that I would go, not only are there a few throws every game where you go, ooh, I wish his arm was stronger. Every now and then you go, man, can't you just flick it out there a little bit? Or, hey, there's this. Can you throw it sidearm? Right? Yeah. There's a few plays every game where I go, wait, that guy just did that, and it was a first down, and you have to be in this perfect throwing motion and be all mechanically sound to get it done. And those are negatives about his game for sure.
You need to protect for him then in those situations, which the Atlanta Falcons should be able to do. Yes. Offensive line's pretty good.
Pretty good. That's right.
So he is perhaps the most consistent quarterback that you have ever ranked in your top 40.
I saw this. I'm like, I believe it, but I can't believe it.
Well, he was 12 last year in the what's your ceiling tier. Kind of similar here in this year. 7 years of the Sims top 40. He has never been higher than 12.
That's amazing.
Or lower than 16.
Right. Probably gets thought about at 9 and 10 a lot, but it never quite makes it.
Yeah. And some of his stats yearly are top 10-ish quarterback yards and touchdowns and all that. So he has not yet been fully cleared 100% for OTAs and all the physical activities. He's getting there, though. And so that will be one of the questions with him, is that how quickly he can hit the ground running coming off the injury here,
right,
given the fact that he already was a limited athletic quarterback.
Exactly, right. You got that. Right,
we do have some video of him at OTA, so maybe we get some.
He is a guy that is he needs his body to throw the football, and like we're gonna see on these clips right here, his body's not ready to throw the football yet. Well, I mean, he's not like pushing off his back leg very aggressively in all clips I've seen so far. That first one wasn't bad, but this is one like I kind of talked about this with my dad a little bit. When he was on the pod a little. We sent enough clips to go, like, he's still favoring that back leg.
Yeah.
So,
I almost wonder if you get into some bad habits trying to go out there.
I've been there. I've been there in that issue. I've had it, right? I had a badly high ankle sprain when I was playing for the Denver Broncos, and I tried to missed a few days of practice, but I tried to gut it out and get back on the field, and I was on one leg, and it caused me to transfer my balance on my front leg more than my back leg, and started to throw with my arm more, and all of a sudden my elbow started to hurt me a little bit, right? So there can be ripple effects to that, and they'll have to watch that. But yeah, like you said, this is a guy that wasn't known for his athleticism already, and he's also not known for his arm strength, right? And his age, right? And of course the severity of the injury. Right, there's just a little bit of an unknown. That's why he's a wild card. That's why we put him in this type of tier right here. It is. I don't know how good he's going to be. I don't. I know it can be good, but how good, right? And he's a guy that, he can take advantage of system, right, as we always talk about. And that's part of his beauty, like the beauty of him. You could give him 9 million plays and 9 million coaching points, and he's just like, yep, I got it, right? That's why McVay loved him. That's why Shanahan loved him, because they were like, I have 9 million plays and rules, and this guy remembers them all, right? So that's the beauty of him, and that's a skill in itself, too, that we can't, just disregard, right? But when the system can't come through, right, and he plays a good creative defense, right? This is one thing that jumps out when you really watch it and study it, right? When he plays the system doesn't come through, plays a really good creative defense where the system is not always right? He is not going to make a ton of plays and throws, right? Teams that seem to be creative or can play tight man-to-man coverage, he does not thrive. And that was one of the things that kind of popped out to me with watching him and seeing that.
He did not perform necessarily that well against the Chiefs, although they were close in that game.
No, he had a bad game against the Chiefs, and that would be one of the games that I watched to tell you that, yeah, right. It wasn't, Steve Spagnuolo, right? When you play the Chiefs, you got to be able to just play ball. Like, it's not going to be like, oh, I drew it on the board all week, and they're going to be exactly where I thought Steve Spagnuolo would put them. The Chiefs are the ultimate, like, hey, you better be ready to play some football today. Your coach ain't going to be able to tell you every thing they're doing. So you got to make plays and reads and do that. That's where it's, not always great, right, in that department. The 49ers, I know people will say, well, that's a great defense. He did good against that. The 49ers ran 2 defenses. I mean, they run 2 defenses, basically. So he knew where they were going to be. And O'Connell had great information being from the Rams and playing the 49ers to go, I know the plays that the 49ers don't like, and they systematically screwed them, right? But, yeah, some of the Bears game, right? Games like that, because they do a lot of stuff on defense. They play man-to-man. They put pressure on you that way. That was kind of the thing that jumped out to me a little bit with Todd Bowles in week 1, right? Some crazy stuff there, too. Right? Not that he played bad, but again, in those games, it's just not quite the surgicality and all of that. And then it becomes into, hey, no. The pocket's collapsing. You got to make a big throw here into a tight window. And that's not where he's always going to come through.
Some of the reasons why that maybe the Vikings
Carolina Panthers game. That was
Panthers
another one.
That was his worst game,
right.
For sure.
Same thing. Great defense, really creative, all over the block. And you can't pin it down to, oh, I know what they're going to be on 2nd and 7, right?
Yeah.
And that's where he doesn't always thrive.
So you were questioning at times why the Vikings would not just pay him, but maybe this is some of the thought process that was in that building, and especially coming off of the injury. And on a recent episode of the podcast Unbuttoned Adams with Kay Adams, former Viking Jared Allen had to say this about him. He goes, I'm glad the Vikings didn't spend $45 million per year to keep Kirk Cousins. Nothing against Kirk Cousins, but when you're trying to build an organization, I don't think a mid-30s quarterback coming off an Achilles tear is where you want to spend your money.
I think that's where their mind was, right? Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah, boom, killed it,
nailed it,
right? That's and he obviously had a vision, and he had alluded to 2 years ago, right? Because Florio always used to bring this up because he's such a Vikings fan, that Cousins isn't a take over the game superstar type of guy, right? So yeah, they're looking for that. I think overall, hey, it's not easy just to let go of some guy who you go, damn, that's good. He's a quarterback. $45 million ain't that really expensive anymore, right? I mean, it's not the worst. It shouldn't kill your football team, that's for sure. That's where I was like, wow. I mean, you're just taking one that you got, and like he's good. And O'Connell's that kind of guy we've been talking about. Like, I got system rules and all that. That's where I thought there was tremendous risk. But to their credit, they found a guy that I think is very similar cerebrally like Kirk Cousins, let alone better physical attributes than J.J. McCarthy, and I think they have a better upside with J.J. McCarthy ultimately in, a few years than they do with Kirk Cousins.
There was no guarantee that we're going to get J.J. or any one of those quarterbacks, who knows, but the way it worked out, I'm sure they're looking back and being like, we're okay with how we played our hand right here. So for Kirk Cousins, he played his hand into Atlanta. You've said before you think that the leash will be long with him, even with Michael Penix there. It'll be a leash tied to a leash, tied to another leash, because Kirk, they paid him. They want this to work out well.
They want it to
Kirk
work.
Cousins there. So will it?
Yeah.
So the weapons around him, Drake London, Darnell Mooney, Rondale Moore.
Yeah.
You got the running of Bijan Robinson. You got
Kyle Pitts.
Good offense. Yeah, Kyle Pitts. Got a good offensive line.
It's there for him.
Better than Minnesota?
Ooh. I think it's a more physical, dominant run offensive line. That's where I would definitely give him an advantage there. No. I'm not going to say that receiving group is of Minnesota, right? When you just take away Jefferson, right, Addison.
Yep.
I know he had KJ Osborne last year. He's not there anymore. And Hawkinson. I don't think I'm going to put Atlanta quite there, but like a chance. Again, Darnell Mooney's got something to him. Rondale Moore, we know if he can stay healthy, he's got something to him too. I think it's a systematical fit that's going to be comfortable for Kirk Cousins and not too different than what he did with McVay and Shanahan or O'Connell. So he's going to feel comfortable there. So, it's but my big thing with him is it going to be more than 1 year? That's where, my dad brought this up when you decided to skip the podcast a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
He thinks there is no way Kirk Cousins is more than 1 year. And I can certainly see that logic, right? Full year of just watching Michael Penix and what he can do. And from all due accounts, like I told you, it sounds like they had a grade or a feel of him that he was as good as anybody they'd seen in a long time. Those are things when I hear that, I go, well, yeah, I don't know. Kirk Cousins is going to have to work for year two. I think that's what's going to happen. He's going to have to work for year two.
I'm sure he's still a little shook up by that because he was on a podcast with Jeff Francoeur, a former Atlanta Braves player.
Right.
He goes, quote, so even now, with the Falcons drafting a quarterback out of nowhere just 3 or 4 weeks ago, I'm reminded again, Proverbs chapter 3, verse 5 and 6. Very religious guy.
Yes, he is.
That is, submit yourself fully to your belief in God. So, I mean, you can tell even with that quote, he's like, drafting a quarterback out of nowhere. He had no idea, but he's just going to ride the wave and take it 1 year at a time, and maybe that's all it is.
No, nothing he can do. I'm sure he was shocked. How could he not be? It does put more pressure on him. It makes the situation more uncomfortable. But at the end of the day, it's still going out and performing under pressure. He's used to that, and I think he'll be just fine.
So 4 quarterbacks in this tier.
Yes, sir.
Wild card for Kirk Cousins, that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
I bet a lot of people thought that this next quarterback would be out of the wild card designation. Number 11 in the Chris Sims Top 40 countdown is
Trevor Lawrence. T-Law. Jacksonville Jaguars, right? I mean, Trevor Lawrence, number 1 pick a few years back. Obviously the face of the franchise for the Jacksonville Jaguars. They want to get a long-term deal done with him and sign him up, and I understand that. I think you start off with Trevor Lawrence right off the bat, because the first thing that stands out to you when you turn them on and you watch is you go, this is one of the best looking specimens playing QB in the NFL. Definitely. When you talk about size, athleticism, and arm power, it's up there with anyone in football, period. Right? Presence and size in the pocket, up there with anyone. He's like a Justin Herbert or a Josh Allen, and how he can just stand in there and big throws, people around him, throw over somebody, whatever. And then the athleticism is eye-popping. I mean, when he runs and moves, you're just like, man, 6'6", 225, he's moving and running like that. He's turning the corner on a good defensive end to run up the field, right? Tremendous ability that way. The arm power, his arm power to throw the football is at the tops of the league, right? It rivals just about anybody. I would say Josh Allen, when he needs to throw it the hardest, can throw it the hardest in football. After that, you get into this guy, right? Mahomes, Herbert, right? I think that would be the next class of guys where you'd go, those 3 guys, okay, but I'm going to give Josh Allen the crown as far as just throwing as hard as they can. Yeah. But Trevor's right there, right? Okay, so he's got that. He's got one of the quickest releases in the NFL. I mean, man, can he get the ball out of his hand? Right? So that's really where it's special, okay? And he can make eye-popping throws, right? The throws we talk about that Kirk Cousins can't make, right? You see a few throws every game where you go, holy shit, that's unbelievable. He just fit that 25-yard out route into that. He shouldn't have thrown that. That was a bad decision, but holy crap, he got it in there, right? I mean, so that's what kind of talent he has, right? But at times, the release can be, it's quick, but it can be herky-jerky is what I would call it. And it causes the ball to be off target. And I wish we, could play highlights and things and break down the throwing motions at time, right? But he can, and when I say herky-jerky here, right? Hey, let's throw the ball. Boom. Throw the ball. And sometimes you have to speed the process up, right? Like, okay, I got somebody coming down on, about to hit me, and the guy's just about to pop on. Oh, let me do that same thing a little quick, right? So you're still trying to do that same smooth motion, but just speeding up the process, right? He can go overboard to where he speeds it up so quick, like everything goes everywhere. You can see it on film. I wish I could show you, because I'd go, look at this, and you'd be like, yeah, damn, his body and his head jerks out of the way, and he just whips it and throws it as hard as he can. You're like, wait, he's 7 yards from you, right? Like, you don't have to throw it that hard, and he's diving or doing something like that. It's a 7-yard throw. There's a few too many of that on film for as good as Trevor Lawrence is, right? Or just being off target with the intermediate short passing game at times, because he's made up a mind. I got to be so quick with it getting out of my hand, right? Because it's quick game. And it's like, dude, you're a great athlete. Just chill out and just do what you always do and be smooth. That's plenty quick. And then the way you throw the ball with the velocity will make up for my head flying everywhere and like not being accurate with the ball.
Are those the same things that you saw? Because when you saw him coming out of college, you were like, oh, there are a few things that I think could give him trouble in the NFL. Are those similar things to what you're seeing now?
They're not. They're not. They're actually like, he's fixed a lot of the ones that I bothered me in college, whether it would be like leaning back and arching his back. And, like, if he had to throw to his backside, he'd almost fall out of the way. He'd fall out of the way to make a throw, an out route to his left, right? Yeah. And it'd be like, wait, you can't be consistent by falling and arching your back. That's really hard to do, throwing the ball that way. Or, like, stepping in the bucket, right? That's what I used to talk about. He wanted to throw the ball to 11 o'clock on the clock, and he would step to 7. Mm-hmm. And you'd be like, well, I mean, you're going to hit some of those throws, but you're not going to hit like the throw you need to hit in a big moment if you're doing that stuff. Yeah. He's fixed that. Now it's just about smoothing out, nuance a little bit, right? Not trusting what you see and not like letting your body just be out of control all of a sudden. And I think that's where, he's just got to get better in those departments. Accuracy and throwing the appropriate ball all can be better. And then the other thing you talk about, because I think about you, like when you were Johnny Film watching guy and Caleb Williams. Yep. I mean, he's another guy where you turn on the film and you go, oh, my God, I just can't get over how badly he was protected last year. I mean, it's every game. It's like, whoa, I forgot in this game that he dropped back 30 times, and 27 of them he was under pressure. And then they couldn't run the ball. Right, so I think that's a little bit into like where we're going to take this Trevor Lawrence thing into account too, to not be too critical on him last year. Does he got to get better at things? Certainly, but they fell off as a team a little bit last year, as we've discussed many times, and I think that affected maybe our overall look or perception of him.
So it is tough, and that's what you try to do, extrapolate what was the player and what was the environment around him. You did have him 6th last year.
Yeah.
And the narrative around him is a top-level prospect whose team has held him back from reaching his potential, and so I think that jives with what you just said. 6th last year, though. He is one of 3 quarterbacks now to fall out of the top 10 for you. So Deshaun fell out, Aaron Rodgers, and Trevor Lawrence all out of the top 10.
Yeah, it's, there's a lot of damn good quarterbacks. That's the big thing. And we had some guys that, when we were out of the top 10 last year who played phenomenal football that I go, well, they deserve to be in the top 10 right now. And they're playing good, and I don't think it's fallen off. Right, so that's, and I think where it's hey, the inconsistencies, some of the throwing. I thought maybe he might be able to carry the team a little bit more on his own, right, and a little bit more of a command at a line of scrimmage, like we're talking about, audibles, taking over the team that way. I think those are other things I can look at Trevor Lawrence to go, hey, he can get better at being a leader, being a little more gritty. I've yet to see him yell at anybody in the NFL since he's been there, right?
Surfers don't yell at people.
Hey, so those are things like I look at and go, hey, that could help him out. Now, hey, the system can have a few more wrinkles, that's for sure, right? But, with him, he, like we talked about with the last guy, or 2 guys ago, Jordan Love, they got great arms, and they're big, and they're willing to hang in the pocket. They can hang on number 1 too long, right? Where at times you're just like, he's not open, move on to the next guy, right?
Yep.
All right, so there is that. Has to stop overthrowing, like I talked about. There's too many of those where I just go, wait, the pocket's clean and he's kind of open. I don't need the steroid herky jerk throw here. Just the way you've thrown it all game long has been great. Why did all of a sudden do we have to throw it 107 miles per hour, right? But, that's the thing I think we're going into here next, right? Is does he have the great ability to be able to carry the O when shit is ugly? He's shown signs of it, right? He's been able to do it here and there. I'm saying like next level is like we know with Mahomes or Josh Allen or Burrow for the most part. It doesn't matter who you're playing, what the defense is. You keep your team in it no matter what because you're so good in the mind, physically, everything that you can do that. And I think that's the thing that we got to see from him on a consistent before we put him up with those guys. He also can be a little reckless and careless, and when the game is like that, he is yet to master the game that way. Makes a lot of incredible plays and throw, but definitely can be a better with touch and anticipation, like I said earlier, and where to get it out when he's in trouble.
I have a hard time reading your handwriting sometimes, too. It's difficult.
Well, I'm trying not to repeat myself, too, because I know some of these things I write them down like early on in my notes, and then I write them again later on to emphasize the point.
You did mention in there the carelessness,
and
that is a black mark on his resume right now. He had 21 turnovers last year, looking at interceptions and fumbles as well, behind only Sam Howell, who now is his teammate, and Josh Allen. 10 turnovers came on 3rd down, most in the NFL. And since he was drafted into the league 2021, he leads the NFL with 60 turnovers. And so he has been a bit of a turnover machine. Now, they ask him to do a lot. Don't protect him that well. That can lead to some of those fumbles, but he does need to hold on to the ball. Now, here is Randy Mueller, as a former GM. He is writing for The Athletic now. He said this, quote, see if you agree with it. Peterson and the Jaguars offense staff have tried to use Lawrence's legs, often by design. Some of his best work has come on RPOs and rollouts to get him out of the pocket. I'm not sure, though, that it's a sustainable model for an NFL offense to rely on heavily over time because it doesn't require the defense to cover 1/3 of the field.
Yeah, you know me. Like I said, the greatest team I've ever seen, they ran that off. The greatest team I've seen on a football field in the last 12 years ran that offense, and they had a 10-point lead in the Super Bowl, the Philadelphia Eagles, and they couldn't get it done. Those are wrinkles you want in the offense. You don't want to rely on it too much, right? And, what was the other part you said there before you talked about him? The turnovers and all that. There's no doubt. He's got to stop trying to fit balls into areas where I just go, wait, that's like, I know you have a strong arm, but you can't throw. He's not invisible. You can't throw it through him, right? There's just a little of that. Because he is tough in the pocket and all that, he'll wait a little too long sometimes to let it go, get it out, which he hits, he gets fumbled. So there's that aspect. Running the ball, he got a little unlucky a few times. But the other thing is, the fumbles sometimes happen too, of just like I was talking about the last thing I said, is just find a place, know where your get out of jail free card is always. That's what you always got to know in a quarterback. Oh, wait, shit didn't go as planned. Oh, no, I'm going to get hit a little bit before I wanted to here. I'm not going to get it. Where can I get the ball out to avoid trouble so I don't get hit and fumbled or take a sack or do that? And those are things you see that occur as well. And it's hard because he's a young guy and he wants to make the offense work. And like you talked about, they weren't that good. So I think in some games, forced the issue of wait, we're struggling. So I'm going to hang in the pocket and I'm going to make this big throw to happen. Oh, you got strip sack fumbled. Or, oh, you tried to fit that into a spot you shouldn't have fit it into. And those are things that, he can get better at.
Hasn't quite reached that potential. Was talked about as the next coming of Andrew Luck. We have not seen that. But what he is he's the only first-round quarterback from that vaunted draft class in 2021 to still be on his original team.
Yeah,
that's insane.
That is insane. He's shown us glimmers, and he's definitely had games and moments of being wait, that guy's special right there. And that's where I have a hard time thinking they're not, gonna sign him to a long-term deal here soon.
Yeah.
Right. Again, I'm not in the building there. I don't know. I know Trevor Lawrence enough to know he loves football. He works hard. He's the kind of guy you want leading your team. Is he perfect? Can you get him to be better in certain areas? Yeah, definitely. But man, wow. I got to think they've seen enough already to go, wait, our guy's got some really, really special physical attributes. He's humble. He works hard. He's tough, all of that. I would think they reward him somewhere in the I would think it's somewhere in that Joe Burrow money, $50 million plus, that kind of guy, because it was. I think it's still arrow going up with Trevor Lawrence right now.
It's either you got the quarterback or you don't, and if you got the quarterback, it seems like $50 million.
It's inevitable. Just get it done.
Salary cap keeps going up.
Right.
What do you think about the environment around him? Let's end on that.
Yeah.
Because they have a new wide receiver, and Gabe Davis comes over from Buffalo. I think we have some video of them hooking up here. We have on the field.
Yeah.
We have Brian Thomas Jr. Yeah, it was strange. We have Brian Thomas Jr., who they drafted as well. So you loved him. Christian Kirk, they got back there. And so here are the weapons that they have in the offensive line, what they are going to try to do to protect him. Mitch Morse comes over from the Bills as well.
Yeah, that to me is where it starts, right? I mean, Travis Etienne didn't get to even be Travis Etienne last year because they couldn't run or do anything. I mean, they could not. Cam Robinson was hurt, right? Anton Harrison will be in the second year now, so I think he'll be a lot better, right? So yeah, they've made some adjustments to their football team here, and I think they had to. I mean, and it starts right there. I mean, they had to get the upfront part figured out, and getting Ezra Cleveland there, also big. I mean, and Mitch Morse at center, it's a big deal. It's a big deal. He's a good damn player for them.
So
I like their weapons, though.
You do like their weapons.
I do. I think it's a good group, and it's going to be dependent on all the one guy you talked about, Brian Thomas Jr.
Yeah.
How good can he be, right? Because I think he's the guy that unlocks the rest of them. Right? Christian Kirk is an awesome number 2, right? And he'll look really awesome, and you might think he's a number 1 if Brian Thomas can be awesome, right? But if you have to rely on Christian Kirk to be the guy and carry the offense and be that, I don't think he's that guy. I think he's better when he's, the Robin to some Batman.
Yeah, they wanted Calvin Ridley back. That didn't work out, but still set up to succeed for Trevor Lawrence, who is a top 11 quarterback in the NFL. Those are your 4 quarterbacks who are in the wild card tier. So despite the wild card name, meaning that if you got these guys, you are in the wild card conversation as well. Despite that nickname, 3 of our 4 quarterbacks today did not make the playoffs last season. Rodgers, although he only played a couple snaps, Cousins, and Trevor Lawrence. In 34 straight seasons, at least 4 teams have qualified for the playoffs after failing to make the postseason the year before. So here are the DraftKings sports odds for making the playoffs among teams who missed the playoffs last year. So if you follow that whole thing, congratulations. And here are your odds. And so we have the Bengals, the most likely favorite to make the playoffs who didn't last year. Then you have the Falcons. Then you have the Jets. And then you have the Bears after that and the Chargers. So Jaguars still not favored to make the playoffs. I'm maybe a little surprised by that, but the rest of the division is pretty solid.
That's probably where it is. I mean, they're got the Colts there, and of course we know the Texans are really good. And I think the bigger thing with the Jaguars is just the AFC in general is so damn good, right? But Bengals obviously would be the team that I would say clearly. I mean, I will be shocked if the Bengals aren't better than last year, especially on the defensive side of the ball. Mm-hmm. And if Burrow stays healthy, they have a team that I feel like is on a mission, right? To a degree. Falcons certainly would be one of those teams I look at to make that kind of move as well. Gosh, I mean, I like all these teams to be able to possibly do that, right? I mean, the Chargers and the new look Harbaugh era, it's like what's that going to look like? Caleb Williams and the Bears, what I think of the team and him and all of that. Does it come out smooth, or does he act too much like a rookie and mess it all up?
Yeah.
But I kind of like those. For the value, I do like the Jaguars and Colts bets. I really do. And honestly, I probably like the Jaguars more than the Colts because of Trevor Lawrence, right? Anthony Richardson, I'm not sure what I'm going to get. And I think I think the Jags have a few more difference makers on their football team than the Colts do.
Similar to last year, I think we're going to have very few teams who you look at the beginning of the year and say they have no chance to make the playoffs. By the looks of that, those teams didn't make the playoffs last year, and you look at all of them, you're like, yeah, I can see a way they can get in this year.
Last year, the only two teams I said last year that I looked at and said I don't think they can make the playoffs, one of them did, of course. I was like the Raiders and the Texans. I was like, those are the two teams that I don't think can make it, right? As it stands this year, whew, I'll be bold and throw out some teams for you. I don't give a damn. New England is one for sure. Carolina would be another one. Okay. And I'd probably put Washington in that group too.
Yeah.
Those are probably three right off the bat that I'd be willing to say I don't think can make the playoffs. The Giants are on the borderline. They're on the borderline. But I'm not. I don't know if I would be bold enough to say that yet.
DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NBA.
And during the playoffs, new customers can bet $5 and pocket $200 in bonus bets instantly.
You can download the app, use the promo code Unbuttoned when you sign up.
DraftKings Sportsbook. The crown is yours.
The crown of knowing people's grip.
Bam.
That belongs to Chris Sims.
Here we go.
You went perfect 2 pods ago.
I was 2 pods in a row. Thank you very much, Miss Lippy.
I was just trying to refresh my memory there. 2 pods in a row. You have been the last 11 quarterbacks. You have gotten 11 for 11.
And we're on quarterback 11 today.
And my
dad was number 11.
It's all lining up to get perfect again. 4 for 4. So here we are. So we are going to identify the 4 grips that we have today. And so.
All right. So D is Aaron Rodgers. I know that.
Yeah. D is Aaron Rodgers immediately.
Come on, I know Aaron Rodgers. Are
2 and under, 2 and under 5.
Are you kidding
me? He's a
me?
classic 2 and under 5 guy.
Okay, so yeah, he's 2 and under 5 guy. Classic. You're exactly right.
He had smaller hands, 9 3/8.
He's one that I would tell you this is where the measuring of the hands is wrong right now. He'd be another one, right? Because they can't spread their thumbs out really long, and the way they measure it from the end of your thumb to the end of your pinky, if you don't have a flexible thumb, I do.
Yeah.
And it's double jointed to where I can really spread it out. But not everybody's that way. They need to measure from the bottom of the hand to the tip of the middle finger.
Ooh.
They don't do that. If they did that, Aaron Rodgers had some of the biggest hands in football.
Wow.
Rodgers' fingers are like Smeagol from Lord of the Rings, okay? Sometimes they're long as hell. And same with Joe Burrow. My hands were barely bigger than Joe Burrow's. It was only because of my ability to spread my thumb where I got an extra inch on him as far as measuring, as far as quarterback hands.
It seems like a no-brainer. You already have the tape measure there to do just do the other measurement too, and you have a full, complete picture of the hand. Wow, I'd never heard that before.
All right, so we know A is Jordan Love, right? 2 and under 4. Right?
Yep.
2 and under 4, and the pinky is just touching there. But again,
barely.
2 and under is just incredible.
Sweeping the nation.
It really is. All right, so now it's down to
Cousins. And he had 95th percentile hands, by the way. Jordan Love, 10 1/2 inches.
10 1/2 inches. Okay, okay. All right, so I'm pretty sure B is Kirk Cousins and C is Trevor Lawrence.
That is, you have done it again.
Boom.
You are perfect once again.
15 for 15 out of my last 15.
And now the Trevor Lawrence, even though it is the
I know
1 and under,
it's a little Tua-ish, right?
Yeah, it's kind of.
But he's not on it. He's not on it.
But those 2 fingers are very close together. We don't see that with any of the other quarterbacks we have here today,
right? No, that's a little rare. That it's not Tua, but it's as close as I see anybody have middle finger, ring finger together.
Yeah.
Right? And Trevor, it's not on that lace, that middle finger, but it's just above it. And he's 2 and just under 4. So, Love is 2 and under 4. Trevor Lawrence is 2 and under 4. And go back to Kirk Cousins, if you don't mind, if you can go to the first screenshot. I feel like I got a little bit of better look at his grip there. And Cousins was 2 and under. So we have 3 2 and under 4s here.
Yep.
3 of them. And then Rodgers is 2 and under 5. Yeah. And Rodgers' hand, like I told you, is much bigger than what the measurements would tell you. Yep. So there we got it. But,
Dang.
I mean, again, it's just amazing how, like I told you, you get to 1988, there's like a few quarterbacks in football that do 2 and under. And now we're seeing I don't know, what are we at now? 95% of the league?
Yeah.
Basically, so far, is like 2, and that pinky is under the lace and not touching it or barely touching
Where
it.
does that start? Does that start in college for these guys, or is that starting in the NFL?
I think it's college, yeah. I think it's starting before that. I think it's something that they're like I told you, the first one that I really ever noticed, and I need to go back in the pantheons of old school quarterbacks a little, was Brett Favre. He was the first one that I noticed growing up where I was like, wait, his pinky's not on the lace. He keeps it under the lace. That's different. Elway didn't do that. Aikman doesn't do that. Marino doesn't do that. Sims and Montana don't do that. So I was like, that's interesting. Yeah. But I got to see if there's somebody else that I'm missing that maybe did that as well.
So you're 15 for 15. Your last 15.
I'm on fire.
You're like that quarterback with the completion percentage. You don't want to screw it up now.
Hey, don't want to just check it down. Check it down, baby. Check it down.
We'll have all white and black quarterbacks from here on out. Just 2 players, 2 quarterbacks per podcast here. So there it is. So there you've done it again there, and now we have just a couple more minutes, and I'd like to get a couple of these questions in because Pete reached out to the homies and said, "You got any reactions so far to the Chris Sims top 40 quarterback countdown?" And we're into the top 10, almost into the top 10. We'll save that for tomorrow, but Pete, we got time to go through a couple of these, right? Okay, let's do. We'll do them in somewhat rapid-fire fashion.
Yeah,
but here's one from Moose Maxwell 31. Any chance you can elaborate more on why all the rookie quarterbacks ranked over Anthony Richardson and Joe Flacco? This is borderline Shane Steichen slander.
No, it's not. It's not. In fact, I think what I really think is Shane Steichen can make people look a lot better, right, than what they actually are, right? And I'm trying not to take offensive play caller and all that into account here. So it's not Shane Steichen. Again, Richardson. Hey, there's, like we talked about at the time, there's a lot of wow, but there's also a lot of like whoa, right? So he's still got a lot of learning to do, and the way they play and do everything, I mean, it's a controlled environment. The playbook's controlled to a degree, right? And I could show our man at Moose Maxwell and go, hey, I mean, look at this game here. I mean, it's 5 plays in a row of like not a good throw or a bad decision or whatever you want to talk about. So it's just not there yet. Now, I seen the high end thing. I don't know if it's going to get there this year. That's all I'm saying. So that's where I don't know. Flacco, okay, he's a tough one, as we know, right? But ultimately with Flacco, and just like he got a lot of rookie tendencies in him. Right? I mean, my biggest thing with Flacco is he's careless with the football. Yeah. I mean, extremely. And so that bothers me. And, these rookies, I think once they get greased up and, learn their offense and get just to play a little bit, I just think it's not going to take long for them to look like NFL quarterbacks. I think that's what's different about this class than most years is there's, as I've always said, they can really play the position. They're not just physical talents that we hope we can mold into the position.
Richardson, major list at 32, Flacco at 37. There were some comments.
Richardson scares me. I know that. Yeah. I mean, Richardson, I know he could be like, was he the MVP of football through 6 weeks? And I'm like, oh, no.
Out of all the quarterbacks that could make you look bad, I feel like it is probably Anthony Richardson.
I get you.
There are some comments on quarterbacks that you did not put in your top 40 here. And I think maybe the most common, maybe the Raiders fans are just more vocal, is Aidan O'Connell. So here's a couple. Gonzo1725. I love that people aren't aware of Aidan O'Connell. I love it. Obviously, didn't have much to show for last year, but got better and ready to take a leap in year number 2. Not a dig at all on Sims, just hasn't seen it yet. I love it. Kid is ready to roll. And then Michael Stanley says, I love the pod. Think you are awesome in all ways, but... big capital letters, I'm telling you that you will regret not having Aidan O'Connell on the list. He's accurate, poised, a strong arm. I predict he will crack your top 20 this time next year. Keep up the great job.
I appreciate that. I do. And listen, he was a tough one. I mean, again, he was one that I promise you, as I was doing the list, he's one of the first few out. And I even told people, I was like, man, I don't think I'm going to have Aidan O'Connell in my top 40, right? I mean, I was definitely like, I'm not sure what to do there. And I don't disagree with some of what's being said there, right? I mean, he's big. He will stand in there, right? And make big throws and do all of that. Now, is the arm so powerful that I'm like, oh, wow, this is a game-changing arm? And, of course, it's very a little bit robotic, the throwing as well. And I would also tell you, for what we are accustomed to in this day and age in the NFL, like I talked about with Kirk Cousins, he's a below-average athlete for the quarterback of this day and age, right? But yeah, I mean, listen, I certainly see a way where he can be in the 20s or maybe better. I don't know if he's going to be out Gardner Minshew. Let's just start there. I still think there's a lot of stuff that Aidan O'Connell can get better at and nuanced at, and has some work to go before he's a bona fide he's starting quarterback in the NFL.
You had Tyler Huntley at 29 last year. He was a Pro Bowler last year after everyone else did not want to play in the Pro Bowl. You did not rank him this year. Juice Verhage says, not on this list, but perhaps a quick talking point. What happened to Tyler Huntley from 29 last year to not even on the list this year? If the Browns were to go with a backup quarterback, wouldn't you want Huntley over Jameis? Thanks, guys.
Huntley, I think, can protect the game more, right? And you maybe a little more trustworthy, right? I don't know if he can make the plays and make the big throws to beat some of the really good teams that you might have to beat in the AFC to get you over the hump that way, right? That's kind of where I would look at it. Tyler Huntley, and even how it ended in Baltimore and all of that just seemed odd too. It did, and it's like I don't even know how to explain it. It's like it didn't seem like they were at any trying to make him a part of the football team or didn't want him back or whatever. I was a little surprised by that because I do think he's one of the better backups in football, right? But he was a guy that I'm not going to say was one of the first 2 or 3 names off the list, but like part of that guys where I go, okay, I got it whittled down. Let me get to my top 40. Okay, I have 51 guys here. Shit, and he was part of that, right? But like good athlete, not a dynamic thrower. I think that would be another part of it too. And when I did my preliminary go back and watch people, right, I think the other thing too is, maybe the offense was a little basic with him in there too. There was a lot of protecting of him that way that I think when I went back and watched, I went, they're not willing to just let it fly with him or do that. And I think that gave me some trepidation. And
still just 9 starts in 4 years for him. At a certain point, you do have to
I got to see more, right? Yeah, and at a certain point, I think what makes you wonder is like, wait, they don't want him, and they didn't seem like they tried to re-sign him. Why is that? What is there? And that made me wonder too. But it's not that it affects my overall ranking and all that. But yeah, it all plays a part in this.
We did get to see Tyrod Taylor, 5 starts last year for the Giants, was 36 on your list last year, did not crack it this year. Saximus Prime says, why do you have Jarrett Stidham and Kenny Pickett over Tyrod Taylor?
Yeah, so Tyrod had some moments last year where I was kind of like, hey, okay, this is a little bit more of an aggressive version of Tyrod Taylor that I liked, right? But my first thing is Tyrod Taylor can never stay healthy. So it's hard for me to again, what did I joke about when they signed him as the backup? I mean, I'm like, he kind of it's Mr. Glass backing up Mr. Glass right now again a little. It's like, hey, we have an older quarterback, and we're going to get another older quarterback who gets hurt all the time. There's a little of that, and then as I always say, he was a little different last year, right? He was a hair more aggressive. But one of my things with Tyrod Taylor is, good backup, reliable. Don't always feel like he's going to win the game. He's just not going to lose the game, right? And I can't stand that. I can't stand that style of play, right? It's like, I understand we don't need to be reckless and do all of that, but one thing with him, whether it's the injury and the availability, it's he's got more talent and he plays the position way too conservatively for me.
Yeah, but still has made a great
career
in the NFL.
And he could be a guy where if he can stay healthy, he'll fit that offense and that system of what they want to do to where, he could go out there and do some things and surprise some people. And if Rodgers missed a few games, he could certainly, handle the offense and make a few plays.
And the final one from Italian Gatorade.
Yeah.
Is just shocked.
Italian Gatorade.
He goes, I'm wondering if you're really about to put Drake Maye over Caleb Russell and others, ain't mad at that, but just waiting for that as I look at this list.
I'm sorry.
Italian Gatorade is thinking you are way higher on Drake Maye than the rest of the NFL community.
Sorry at Italian Gatorade. He's not going to make the list. He's not.
Opposite.
He is, like I said, one of those names that was written down as a top 50, 51, whatever I had in that, original chopping off a lot of guys. But yeah, you know my concerns with Drake Maye. I think he's a guy that, I have serious questions of whether he can fix some of the issues he has. And either way, he needs time to develop and work on things no matter what. So we'll see where it goes. And again, I know I'm been a little down on him, but I'm rooting for him, and I hope he proves me wrong.
All right, well done, homies, for those questions. You have made it despite a lack of sleep last night. I
feel pretty good. Your voice made it all right. You sound
okay,
good,
right? Not bad.
Yeah, you sound like Casey Kasem to a degree, more like Casey Keenum.
Right. One or the other. That's what I go for. Just let me sound like a Casey.
Yeah. All right, everybody. I hope you enjoyed it. Quarterback rankings will continue on Wednesday. We crack the top 10.
Wow.
Here we go. We only got 3 more pods left. Then we got a little hiatus, a little break, right? But it should be interesting. These top 10, there's a lot to talk about. Damn, there's some good quarterbacks in football. Damn, this exercise isn't easy. As you could tell, it stresses me out every day. Hope everybody's good out there. Check us out on Wednesday. Ahmed, thanks as always for driving the ship. You the man. Peace out to everybody out there. Be good. Take care. See you Wednesday. Clap it up. Yo, what's up? Thanks for watching, homies. You know it's the off-season, but there's no off-season with Chris Sims Unbuttoned. It's the NFL. It goes all year around, all right? So hit subscribe, please, to hear my thoughts on your favorite team, your favorite quarterback, and, hey, how this season might unfold as we get ready for the 2024 season. We got a better picture, clearer look now that the draft is over, free agency. We know who's playing quarterback for certain teams. So, again, thanks for watching, and remember to subscribe. Peace out, homies. Check you out soon.